What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? BizzyDad here. You there, checking out the latest spoilers from Force of Will's Curse of the Frozen Casket. And I am talking a little softer this time around. I've noticed that when I use the screen capture application to look at these spoilers, when I get really excited or talk a little too strongly, it sounds really tinny on the audio playback, and I can't fix it for whatever reason, even though it's the same microphone. I don't know. So I apologize if any of the other spoiler videos are really loud or a little tough to understand, but I'm going to put on my library voice for this video and see how it goes. So we're getting into Fire. These are the red spoilers, and we are checking out the ruler Mars, fortune teller of the Fire Star. A judgment of 3. He is a 7 luminaries mage, so something I've never heard of before. And the energize ability, again, to put a coin or a counter on it if you go second, and at any time in the game you can spend that coin to produce 1 red will. And also a new ability for Mars here is Mana 2. And it says, as the game starts, put 2 mana counters on this card. So this is going to be a new effect. And it seems that with every color that they've done these spoilers for, we've seen some sort of new or unique ability, hopefully unique to that color. That would be kind of interesting. Depending on what color you're playing, the ruler has just a slightly different mechanic, something a little unique. That would be interesting. Also, it says remove a mana counter from this card, and you could produce 1 red will, and you spend this will only to play ancient magic cards. So I'm sure we're going to see exactly what those are in these spoilers. So let's pay the 2 red and 1 to J activate, and he becomes Mars, Dark Commander of Fire. Really good looking artwork here. A Dark Commander J ruler, 1000 attack, 1000 defense, and the mana is 5. So when you start the game, if we can just come back over here, you start the game and put 2 mana counters on him. When you J activate, it looks like you put another 5. Underneath it says, as this card enters your field, you may remove a card named Demon of the Crest NAMBLA in your hand from the game. If you do, this card enters your field with 5 mana counters on it. So the one thing is that an additional 5? When you flip him over, do you put 5 mana counters on? And then if you remove NAMBLA from in your hand from the game, is it another 5? That's what I think it is, but I'll look into that, get you guys an official word. This card gains first strike as long as a card named Demon of the Crest NAMBLA is in your removed area and was removed by this card. So when we get to NAMBLA, it would be really wise to have him in your hand, and when you J activate and flip Mars over, to get rid of NAMBLA, remove him from the game, because you get those 5 additional mana counters and you gain first strike. And again, it says remove a mana counter from this card and you produce a red will. Spend this only to play ancient magic cards. So Mars, first glance, the artwork looks good, and it's going to be interesting. Just like we saw in the last spoilers with Yogg, his unique limit counter, here we have a mana counter, and it's used to produce will to spend on a specific type of card. So let's go into the rest of the cards, see what we got. Here is Demon of the Crest NAMBLA. Look at that bow tie and the suspenders. I like the style, gotta say. A 500 2-drop 7 luminaries demon resonator with swiftness. And when this card enters your field, it deals 400 damage to target J Resonator if your J ruler is Mars, Fortune Teller of the Firestar, or Mars, Dark Commander of Fire. So we see a hand-in-hand card here. If you have NAMBLA, you should have Mars, and if you're playing Mars, you should have NAMBLA. So he comes in with the swiftness. He'll deal 400 damage as long as you got Mars. And at the end of turn, return this card to its owner's hand. So kind of a peekaboo style with NAMBLA. He'll come in, he'll smack somebody for 400 with swiftness, so he might be able to take a little 1 or 2 drop out himself, and then he'll come back to your hand. And while that doesn't seem too great having to put him back in your hand, the fact that when you judge with Mars, if you remove NAMBLA from the game, you get the extra counters and the first strike, now it makes sense why he pops back into your hand at the end of turn. So kind of fun card here. Here we are looking at now, we're getting our Ancient Magic cards. This is Ancient Heartfelt Fire, a 1-drop quick cast chant, so you can do this at any time. And it says choose one. This card deals 400 damage to target J Resonator, or put 3 mana counters on your J Ruler. So really good utility card here at any time. If you need to hit somebody for 400, you can. Or if you are running low on mana counters and you want to start racking them up on Mars, you choose that option too. So really good card. Also, what's nice is just for the 1, you can use one of Mars's mana counters to put this on the field and put 3 more mana counters on Mars. So a good way to start ramping up the counters. Here's Invitation of Disaster, a 3-drop chant, 2 red and 1 of other. You can only do this on your turn. And we have another choice, so we choose 1. This card deals 800 damage to target Resonator. If this card was awakened, it deals 2,000 damage instead. Or, here's the other choice, this card deals 800 damage to your opponent. If this card was awakened, it deals 2,000 damage instead. Whoa, okay, so we are looking at potential game ender here for sure, and we have a really steep awakening cost of 8, 2 red, and 6 of other. So to play this card to the fullest will cost you 11. It will cost you the 2 and 1 to play it, along with the 2 and 6 awakening. So 11 stones is outrageous, but now we're seeing how the mana counters are going to come into play, because you can spend the mana counters to produce Red Will, but only to play Ancient Magic cards. And here we have an Ancient Magic card. So if you can get the counters on Mars as the game is going on, and then use them to get the 11 stones to play Invitation of Disaster, as long as it's not canceled mid-game, later in the game, this could be game over, throwing 2 damage into your opponent's face. So definitely like the fact that it's a game set match card, but the cost is really steep, and I'm afraid that people who play a Mars Ruler is going to be looking for this card and might be preparing for it. But still just a really good option, a good deterrent. Combat Wizard of Altea. Who knows? Altea. I don't know if I'm saying that wrong. A 1-drop Wizard Resonator, 300 attack, 200 defense. When this card enters your field, put a mana counter on your J Ruler, so more ramping for Mars. And if you remove a mana counter from your J Ruler, this card gains swiftness until end of turn. So we're looking at a first turn hit, 300 attack. You could play Combat Wizard right off the bat. Mars has 2 mana counters to start the game, so you could play the Combat Wizard, spend a mana counter if you want to pop your opponent for a quick 300. That's a good option. Also, you're really in essence not spending any mana counters, because you put one on him as soon as he comes into the field. So you play him, you put a mana counter on Mars, you can just immediately spend it and swing for your opponent on turn number 1. So not a bad way to just get that damage right out the gate. Dragon Knight of Alltia, and this is a Dragon Knight Resonator. Be careful with the race here. It's not a dragon and it's not a knight, it's a Dragon Knight. A 2-drop, 1 red, 1 other to play, 600 attack and defense. And for 1 red, this card gains flying until end of turn. I guess I'm okay with this. A lot of flyers for 2-drops are in that 500, sometimes even 400. So a little bit of an extra cost to give this card flying until the end of turn with the 1 extra red. It's not terrible. Tiny Reconnaissance Drake is a Dragon Resonator for 1-drop, 200 attack and defense. And you may pay 1 less to play Resonators with total cost 5 or more. So as we've seen, Red does have a couple of expensive cards. I'm thinking of Drag, the Red Dragon off the top of my head. So here's a way to get a little bit of a discount. And if you have more than 1 of these on the field, I'm assuming that ability stacks. So if you have 2, then you pay 2 less to play Resonators with total cost 5 or more. So strength in numbers potentially with this card. And the Flame Dragon of Altea is a 2-drop, 1200 with flying. Well, now that, just, whoa, stop the press right there. but it says you have to pay one more to play this card for each card in your hand. So really good little twist here. A 2-drop 12/12 flyer is just unbelievable. But on its own, I know we can get Gwyber out for 1 if we put 2 other resonators on the board. But here it's 2, but depending on how many cards in your hand is how much more you're going to pay. So if you can get yourself down to 1 or 2 cards, then really this is just a 3-drop or a 4-drop. So it definitely has potential. And I like the artwork on it. That is really cool. Well, guys, that is it. It's just a really small amount of spoilers for red, but I like it. The mana counter ability is kind of interesting. I'm going to like that interaction between Mars and NAMBLA and just seeing how you can add and take away. So this would be a little fun. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. I sound like a robot, but we're going to get more videos and more spoilers up soon. So as always, thanks for a few minutes, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.